The Great Wall of China was built to defend China from its enemies across the country's northern border. It is actually a rather long wall made of stone and ice. Some of the newer parts and built of brick. Part of it was built more than 2,000 years ago. Over the centuries, new parts were built and some old parts were ruined and built again. The total length of the wall was nearly 7,000 kilometers. At one time, there was a lot built part on the wall too. Just used these towers to communicate about the movement of enemies and to call for help when necessary. Now, much of the Great Wall has been destroyed by wind and weather, and people often take stones from the wall to repair the farm and other buildings. In recent years, the Chinese government has made a law are no longer allowed to pick stone and from the wall. Some sections are maintained to tourists can visit them. These sections are mainly in North Basin, and other major tourist centers that can climb up onto the wall, called part of it. But walking can be difficult. The way can be strong and there are holes up on it. Of the tourist trade is a great number of businesses in tourist areas. There were cable cars, shops, fast food restaurants, and crowded parking areas. Many people believe that because the walls are long, it can be seen from the room, but isn't true. The wider part of the wall only 9 meters, and is mostly the same color as it. If you ever honeymoon and you will have to use a telescope. If you ever on the moon, the, the, the because of because the wall is so long, it can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the wall only 9 meters. That isn't true. The widest part of the wall are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the earth that surrounds it. It can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the wall the moon. That isn't true. The widest part was wall 90 meters, and it is mostly the same color. It can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of wall only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the. It can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the wall only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the Earth. This isn't color. What part of the wall? And it is mostly the same color as the Earth that surrounds it. If you are ever on the moon, it can be seen from the moon. Oh, the wall only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the Earth that surrounds it. If you are ever on the moon and you want can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part is a wall of 9 meters. It is mostly the same color as the birds of the transit. If you ever on the moon, if you wanted to see the Great Wall of China, you'd have to. That isn't true. The widest part of the wall only 9. The widest part of the wall are the widest part of the wall are only 9 meters. The widest part of the wall are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the earth that surrounds it. The widest parts of the world are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the Earth that surrounds it. If you were even on the moon, and you wanted to see the Great Wall of China, you'd have to use a telescope. Many people believe that because the world is so long, it can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the world are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the Earth that surrounds it. If you were even on the moon, many people believe that because the world is so long, it can be from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the world are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the Earth that around it. If you were ever on the moon and wanted to see the Great Wall of China, you will have to use a telescope. Many people believe that because the world is so long, it can be from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the world are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the Earth surrounding. If you ever on the moon want to see the Great Wall of China, you have to use a telescope. Many people believe that because the world is so long, it can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the world only 9 meters. The Great Wall of China was built to defend China from its enemies across the country's northern border. This is actually a series of normal song. The Great Wall of China was built to defend China from its enemies across the northern border. It is actually a series of long made stone and earth. Some of the newer parts are built of brick. Parts of it was built more than 2,000 years ago. Over the century, new parts are built and some old parts were rebuilt and built again. The total length of the wall is nearly 7,000 kilometers. At one time, there were more than 1 million guards on the wall too. There were hundreds of signal towers along the wall. The guards used these towers to communicate about the movement of enemies and to call for help when necessary. Now, much of the Great Wall has been destroyed by rain and weather, and people often take stone from the wall to repair the home and other buildings. In recent years, Chinese government has made laws to protect the walls. People are no longer allowed to take a stone from the wall. Some sections are maintained so the tourists can visit them. These sections are mainly north of Beijing, and other major tourist centers. Visitors can climb up onto the wall and walk around. Walking can be difficult. The wind can be strong, and there is hard slope on it. Money from the tourists can be used to repair the wall, but the unfortunate result of the tourist rate is a great number of businesses in the tourist areas. There are chemical shops, fast food restaurants, and crowded parking areas. Many people believe that because the wall is so long, it can be seen from the moon. Of the wall only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the Earth but surrounded. If you were ever on the moon and you wanted to see the Great Wall of China, you would have to use the telescope. The Great Wall of China was built to defend China from its enemies. The Great Wall of China was built to defend China from its enemies across the country's northern border. It is actually a series of long walls made of stone and earth. Some of the newer parts are built of brick. Part of it was first built more than 2,000 years ago. Part of it was built more than 2,000 years ago. Over the century, new parts were built and some old parts were ruined and built again. The total length of the wall is nearly 7,000 kilometers. At one time, there were more than 1 million girls on the wall too. There were hundreds of signal towers along the wall. The guards used these towers to communicate about the movement of enemies and to call for help when necessary. Now, much of the Great Wall has been destroyed by wind and weather, and people often take stones from the wall to repair their homes and other buildings. In recent years, the Chinese government has made laws. The Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. People are no longer
necessary. Now repair their homes and other buildings. In recent people are no longer allowed to take stone and earth. Years, the Chinese government has made laws to protect the walls.
made laws.
Years, the Chinese government
The Chinese government has made laws. The Chinese government has made laws to protect walls. In recent years, the Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. In recent years, the Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. The Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. The Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. People are no longer allowed to take stone.
government has made laws to protect the walls. People are no longer allowed to take stone and earth from the walls.
People are no longer allowed to take a stone. People are no longer allowed to take a stone and ask from the earth. People are no longer allowed to take a stone. People are no longer allowed to take stone. People are no longer allowed to take a stone from the earth, and the earth from the wall. Now, much of Great Wall has been destroyed wine and weather, and people often take stone from the wall to repair their homes and other buildings. In recent years, the Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. People are no longer allowed to take stone and earth from the wall. Some sections are well maintained so that tourists can visit them. These sections are mainly northern of Beijing or near other major tourist centers. Some sections are well maintained so that tourists can visit them. These sections are mainly northern of Beijing or near other major tourist centers. Visitors can climb up onto the wall and walk around part of it. Walking can be difficult. The wind can be strong. Walking can be difficult. The wind can be strong, and there was some hard slope on it. Money from tourists can be used to repair the wall, but unfortunately the result of the tourist trade is a great number of business in touristy. There are cable car, shop, fast food restaurant, and crowded parking area. Many people believe that because the wall is so long, it can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest part of the wall the widest parts of the wall are only 9 meters. The widest parts of the wall are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the earth that surrounds it. If you were ever on ever if you were ever on the moon and you wanted to see the Great Wall of China, you'd have to use the telescope. The Great Wall of China was built to defend China. The Great Wall of China was built to defend China from its enemies. The Great Wall of China was built to defend China from its enemies across the country's northern border. It is actually a series of long walls made of stone and earth. Some of newer parts are built of brick. Parts of it were first built more than 2,000 years ago. Over the century, new parts were built and some old parts were ruined and built again. The total length of the wall is nearly 7,000 kilometers. At one time, there were more than 1 million girls on the wall too. There were hundreds of signal towers along the wall. The guards used this tower to communicate about the movement of enemies and to call for help when necessary, to call for help when necessary. Now, much of the Great Wall has been destroyed by wine and weather. Other people often take stone from the wall to repair their home and other buildings. In recent years, the Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. The Chinese government has made laws to protect the wall. People are no longer allowed to take stone and earth from walls. Some sections are maintained so that tourists can visit them. These sections are mainly north of Beijing or near other major tourist centers. Visitors can climb up onto the wall and walk around the parts of it. But walking can be difficult. The wind can be strong, and there is some hard slope on it. Money from tourists can be used to repair the wall, but the unfortunate result of the tourist trade is a great number of businesses. In touristy, there were cable car, shop, fast food, restaurant, and crowded parking areas. Many people believe that because the wall is so long, many people believe that because the wall is so long, it can be seen from the moon. That isn't true. The widest parts of the world are the widest parts of the world are only 9 meters, and it is mostly the same color as the earth that surrounds it. If you were even the moon, if you were ever on the moon, and you wanted to see the Great Wall of China, you would have to use telescope.